guys, welcome to the Digitize Fully Charged Podcast. Today's episode is with a chap called Gary Jamieson, who's Schools Development Officer at the V&A Museum in Dundee. I had a great time with Niall speaking to Gary about his journey as an educator, as a pupil who wasn't engaged in school at all. He got a PE teacher back then, kind of championed him and encouraged him down a more academic pathway, and his journey really is fascinating. He then ended up as a mature student going to university to study to be a primary school teacher. He was quickly picked up as a rising star by Dundee Council in terms of his teaching, and then he had this beautiful moment where he'd suffered some personal loss, and he'd seen this job at the V&A in Dundee, and he really wanted it. It really appealed to everything that he knew about himself as an educator and his creativity and problem solving abilities. And I think it meant a huge amount to Gary to go for that interview, and he had this beautiful moment where, he went from being a rising star to the stars aligning for him on a sunny morning in Dundee when he went for that interview. And just brilliant to hear of someone on a pathway that isn't traditional but leads you to where you're meant to be. And listening to this conversation with Gary, I'm sure you'll agree that he is very much where he's meant to be. And you'll hear all about the V&A and about some amazing exhibitions and competitions that they've got running right now for schools. So let's jump in. Really excited by today's episode. Gary Jamieson is a Schools Development Officer at the V&A in Dundee, and he's, to our international listeners, Gary has a pronounced Dundonian accent, which is absolutely beautiful, but you might just want to pay particular attention. So thank you, Gary. Are you able to just give us a little introduction to yourself? Tell us about how you got to where you are. Did you start off in education like Niall and I did? How did you end up at the V&A in Dundee?
Good question, Pam. And thanks for that caveat about the accent. I'm sure Niall will be able to stick some subtitles on in parts. When I was at school, I wasn't really the education type. I wasn't the academic type.
Sure. Yeah, I was academic.
I was very much go to school to play football and have a bit of banter.
Yep.
And, be a clown, basically. But that's not to say I didn't love my educational experience. I loved it. I loved being at school. I went to school every day, and I went to school every day for that reason. To meet my mates, and, I lived for playing football and talking about football, and just lived for PE, basically. If we got PE that day, brilliant. I'm in.
Great.
What's your team, Gary?
Rangers.
I thought it was going to be a Dundee or Dundee United situation there. Right. Okay.
My whole family are Rangers fans, so
sure.
I don't really like disclosing it at the moment either, because we're terrible.
It's all right. Yep. We're no much better on the other side of the city either, to be fair.
Exactly. So where was I? So
football.
At school, I just loved playing football, and just that was kind of my life at school, and it all revolved around that. But in a way, that's kind of shaped where I am now, because I was a Christmas leaver at fifth year. I had to stay on to fifth year. I was always focused that I was going to leave in fourth year and get a job, and get an income, basically.
Yeah.
I got a job when I was in fourth year. I actually worked in the kitchens at the Dundee Royal Infirmary.
Oh, brilliant.
And I did that when I was in fourth year, just turned 16, basically. Got a job in there nights and weekends, and it was great. And then I got offered a full-time job there when I was in fifth year, and I took it.
Sure.
Because it was a Friday half day. I worked 12 hours, 6 hours on the Friday, then I worked 12-hour shifts on a Saturday, Sunday. Oof. So it was full time. And then the following week, it was full time hours, 12 hours Saturday, 12 hours Sunday, then a half day Monday. So I was able to just no be at school on a Friday 1 week and no be at school on a Monday the other week. So nobody kind of clocked on that I had a full-time job and I was still at school.
I love that.
So I kind of focused on at fifth year, I think I'm going to just leave and I'm going to work in this job.
Yeah.
And I said it to my PE teacher, and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "You could go on and do a higher in PE next year."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Nah, I'll not be able to achieve that. That's no for me. All the written work and all that. I'm like, nah." Did loads of modules and stuff at school. Didn't do any hires, but I did my PE hire because Mr. Hearn had said to us, you can do it, and he almost kind of challenged us to do it. So. And he said, any spare time you've got, just come at the PE department. You can come, you can sit upstairs and you can work on this. So I went and did that. I got my higher PE, and then I stayed on to sixth year after that.
Wow. Oh, that's brilliant.
I didn't do any hires in sixth year. I just did loads of modules and stuff like that. But I ended up kind of enjoying it more, enjoying the academic side of it.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of felt like that was kind of too late to think about going to uni or anything like that. So when I left school, I went to Dundee College and I did a sports development course.
Brilliant.
Loved that as well. Really good. So from there, I ended up working in the gym at the Hilton Hotel.
Sure.
It was Living Well, it was called at the time.
Yeah.
So I got a job in there as a fitness instructor. The way that worked, it was like a health club rather than a gym. It was called a health club.
Sure.
And there was loads of interesting people that would come through the doors because they were from all walks of life, and I loved meeting all these different people and speaking to them about what they did for their career and stuff like that. So, we had the chief of police, head of the fire brigade, we had lawyers, we had teachers, we had doctors, we had nurses, we had all different types of people. We had retired people, we had journalists, all these type of folk coming in, and just speaking to them and having conversations with them was really good. I met this guy who was starting up his own business in endowment compensation.
Okay.
He said to me, "Do you want to come and be my office manager?" And I was like, "Well, what's the wages?"
Yeah,
first of all.
that'd be my first question as well.
Yeah, exactly. Is it going to be worth me, changing career path for an extra few quid? And it turns out it was. So I went and I did that for a couple of years. It was really good, but it was a sort of time limited job because endowment compensation, the window for that was only open for a few years. So that kind of dwindled away.
Sure.
But from that, I'd met another guy who had his own mortgage company.
Sure.
So I went and worked for him after that at Mortgage Healthcare, it was called. But from that, I ended up working for Thornton's in their estate agency department.
Yeah.
So I was working with them. I really loved it. I ended up going to college to do my hires again. But before that, I'd said to them, "Look, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I want to get into teaching."
Yeah.
They kind of made a job for me where I would go out and show people houses on a Saturday. And they never used to do Sundays, but they said, "Right, well, we'll start doing Sundays so you can get Saturday and Sunday.
Brilliant.
And then you can work at nights and stuff and go and show people houses then, because that's when people want to see them, right?"
Exactly, yeah.
That's
fantastic.
That empowered you then to be able to go and do your primary teaching.
Yeah.
I was ready to learn then. When I was at school, I wasn't ready to learn. That's my thing. I wasn't ready for the learning side of things.
Totally.
I was so ready when I was 30 years old by this point.
I think that's really powerful that you've had that throughout those kind of early stages. You had, I guess, lots of people, but three main people that believed in you as well. So you had your PE teacher that believed in you going on to do your higher PE. You had the person that was starting up their business asking you to be their manager, and then again here starting creating a job for you, so that because they believe in your goals and what you can achieve. I think that's a really powerful message.
Absolutely. I'd written that down as well. Mr. Hearn, the PE teacher, to have someone kind of have your back like that and just believe in you and change your pathway. Really, really powerful. And actually, that's the impact teachers can have, isn't it?
Yeah. So I got 4 hires when I did that college course. So from that able to apply to uni, and you had to do your UCAS form. And when you do your UCAS form, you've got to put different options. So always wanted to go to Dundee. I had 2 kids by this point.
Sure.
So I wanted to obviously stay in Dundee. I didn't want to go anywhere else, but you have to apply elsewhere as well. So I applied Dundee, Aberdeen and St Andrews.
Sure.
But St Andrews Uni didn't do a teaching course. They did a Master of Arts for 3 years, and then you can go and do sort of postgrad after that. So I thought, same amount of time. If I didn't get into Dundee, then it's an option.
Yeah, just across the water.
Well, I thought I'm never going to get into St Andrews Uni anyway. But I'm like, I'll just write it down. So anyway, got my interview. Me and my mate Duncan, who you know as well now.
Duncan,
We both got an interview over in St Andrews on the same day. So we went over, and it was one of the days that Will and Kate were going back to visit the uni.
Sure.
I think they were going back the next day, but the place was crawling with police and cameras and, all this hoo-ha. And I said to Duncan, Duncan, you don't think this is a bit much for a couple of minks from Dundee going to
Made a bit of an effort for you.
Yeah, totally. But went in, did my interview, got on really well with the guy who was doing an interview. It was probably about 40 minutes in this interview. And then so came out, sat down. Duncan went in for his interview, and he came out after about 10 minutes and didn't get on with the guy.
No.
A week later, I got an acceptance to St Andrews Uni, and I've kept that letter. I ended up going to Dundee Uni because that's obviously where I wanted to be. But I got an acceptance for St Andrews Uni, so I actually kept that letter to say, you know what? I rejected St Andrews.
I love that.
Get that framed.
I love that.
Yeah, totally.
And so, did you go straight into teaching then from your Dundee Uni course then?
Yeah, so I did the 4 years at uni after that, and I was just talking at an event last week saying that I really loved my time at uni. I met some brilliant people who I'm still friends with now, but the only problem is they're all having their 30th. And I'm like 44.
Were you the annoying mature student, Gary? Were you that?
Yeah. But there was a couple of us, so it was fine.
It's fine, yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed my time at uni, and I did my job at Thornton's throughout that time when I was at uni for the first couple of years, and then I got a job on the taxis. I worked on the taxis for my third and fourth year at uni.
Sure.
Because that fitted really well with placement and stuff like that. So, and it was such a great job while you were at uni because I could take my stuff with us, and when I didn't have a fare, I was studying. Looking at stuff, and then get a fare, tuck it down the side of the seat, and off you go. Do your fare, earn your money, and study at the same time. So
yeah, that's a great way to do
it. So Gary, tell us about your current role then. So Schools Development Officer at the V&A in Dundee. How long has the V&A been in Dundee actually? It's quite recent.
It's been open for 7 years.
Really? Already?
Yeah,
wow.
7 years. So.
You've been there since the beginning?
No, so I'm on secondment. So when I went into teaching, I was on placement at a school called Gleeblands. I ended up getting my NQT year there and then getting kept on there. So I was there for 7 years, and that's where I met my partner, Kerry. Yeah, so you're talking about V&A. Yeah, so while I was at Gleeblands, I started kind of doing some leadership roles and just little ones like being the Quamso and leading the PIPA's group and things like that, and going to meetings. And then I did this improving writing thing, and then my head teacher put me on a course that was called Rising Stars, and that was brilliant. A really good network of people were on that that I still keep in touch with now, actually. But it was I was building momentum into kind of maybe thinking about going into a PT role or something like that. And I was looking around for opportunities, and there, I might look further afield. So started looking at other opportunities, and then I came across this role at V&A, Skills Development Officer. So I read a little bit about the spec, and I was like, that's me. That's who they're looking for. They're looking for me. Yeah. It just fitted everything that all my sort of educational philosophies fitted with what they were looking for. They were looking for someone who was, a creative problem solver, a critical thinker, just not the norm, basically.
Yeah.
And I was coming on the back of, I'd just done this really, really good project with the Social Enterprise Academy called Don't Recycle Racism, where I got loads of community partners together, and we made this website. Basically, we made a resource for schools that was all done by the kids, and it got a really good traction. It ended up actually being on a BBC documentary at one point.
Wow. Yeah, that's class. Nice.
Yeah, I know. So it was what's her name? Jean Johansson does A Place in the Sun.
Right.
She was. So she was doing a Disclosure Scotland documentary about racism. So she came up to the school and interviewed the kids, and it was great. So she used that so it was quite a hard hitting documentary, to be fair, about institutionalized racism throughout Scotland and things. And then she used that as the end kind of hope piece, that kids are actually doing something about it. And it was a great class to work with, because there was 33 kids in the class, and there was 22 of them coming from different areas that weren't Scotland, So it was a really diverse class to do that project, and that kind of got the traction as well. So it's still running now. The website's still up and running.
It's your legacy.
Yeah. Well, actually, in our current global climate, it's probably a current political.
I still do wee bits and pieces about it now as well. I still go and do talks about it. So people are still kind of using it as a resource in schools as well. I was actually in a school a few weeks ago. So part of the project was that we had stickers made with a QR code on it, and it was sent out to all the primary schools in Dundee, and they were to put it on their bins, basically, because it was like it was sponsored by Biffa.
Right.
They were one of our partners on it. So we'd said that we'll put these stickers on all the bins, and and if kids need any advice on racism or that, they can just set. But I was in a school just the other week, and I noticed the stickers were still up outside all of the classrooms.
Hey, nice one. So that's really cool.
That's cool.
It was brilliant. I really enjoyed doing that. I still really remember it fondly. I mean, it was only 4 years ago now, but so on the back of that, I was thinking, right, I'm going to apply for this job. So I applied, and I remember I got an interview, and it was just before the October holiday, so it was probably around about this time 3 years ago. Was when my interview was, and it was like early in the morning. It was a 9 o'clock interview, and I think I got the bus into town, and I was walking across Lesser Gardens, and the sun was really low, and the building looked amazing. The weekend previous to that, I lost one of my good pals, and that moment, you're just like, this is a moment for me. I'm walking towards this building. I'm like, I want to work there. It looks amazing. And just, and when you lose one of your pals that, you grew up with, it's kind of like, we kind of feel for I want to just get on with my life and live it. So I went into the interview, and I sat there and did my presentation, which was great, because they were just a way to put on the tartan exhibition in a few months after it started, and the challenge that they gave us for interview was to come up with a project, basically, that involved tartan. So I've being a total lover of Scotland, it was just right up my street. So I developed this project. It was a hypothetical project, but I called it Ties to Scotland, and it was about designing your new school tie for schools across Scotland. So they would go into their local communities, and they would gather all the history of their local communities, and then would bring that in, and they would design a tie based on it. So
I love that.
That was my thing. And I was sitting in an interview, and I was like, I think this is going well. I was writing a lot of stuff down, and I came out, and I phoned Kerry, and I says, I think it went well. I says, they were writing a lot of stuff down. Either that, or they're stealing my idea. So I got a phone call that night. I was actually in the pub. It was somebody's leaving do from school. So we went across to the pub and we were sitting in the pub, and I got a phone call and I missed it. I was like, oh no, it was a V&A. So I ran outside. I was like, phoned back, and I came in, and I said, been offered the job, because my partner worked at Cleveland as well, so she was there at the time as well. So she'd already bought a bottle of bubbly and had it on the table because she knew
I was
getting the job.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So the secondment was meant to be for a year, but this is me just almost finished my third year in that seconded role.
Brilliant.
So it's a really unique role. It's a brilliant role, but it is very unique in terms of, like, V&A is the only museum in the world, but certainly in Scotland, that has a full-time qualified teacher in that kind of role.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So it's funded by Dundee City Council. So the reason that I'm there is when V&A was conceived as coming to Dundee, Dundee City Council had said that as part of their investment into it, for the first 10 years of it being opening, they would give them a teacher.
Brilliant.
Wow.
To work in their education team or their learning team.
That's brilliant.
So that's how it's worked. So I think there's so this is going to, when I finish next summer, there'll be 2 years left of that role.
Available.
But I'm really hoping it does get extended.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but it's such an important role because it really does bridge the gap between culture and education.
So what's been the impact in Dundee? Have you been out to visit all the schools? Have you been having schools coming to visit you? Like, how are you as an educator kind of linking those two roles together?
Because we're a national museum, our remit is the whole of Scotland. But for our schools learning department, we're very much focused on national stuff. But we do hyper-local stuff as well. So in 2023, when we had the tartan exhibition on, we actually got every single school in Dundee down to visit the exhibition.
Wow.
And because the impact of that particular exhibition, we had 10,000 kids visit in a year throughout the whole of Scotland.
That's fantastic.
That's brilliant.
I always say to folk, I went from having a class of 33 to working with 10,000 kids in a year,
Yeah, that's massive.
I didn't see them all face to face, but it's probably seen, a huge majority of them during that period, though.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, those numbers were hugely inflated because of the impact of that actual exhibition. But since then, we've had the kimono exhibition, and we've got Garden Futures on now. So we're usually hitting about 5,000 to 8,000, people coming through the schools program each year. But we also do outreach and stuff as well. So we do go out to schools. We're really lucky because we've got budget. That's the thing, we're very generously funded by Scottish Government and a lot of funders that are private and things as well.
Yeah, that's great.
We, as a museum, part of the way we give back to community is by we've got a team of freelancers who are all design-based freelancers, whether that be jewellery, fashion, architecture, comic books, the whole spectrum of design, basically. We've got a massive group of brilliant people that we like to develop. We have to develop their skills as part of V&A's actual remit. So I'm lucky that I've got these people that I could draw upon. So if we are doing a project, we can say, right, we've got budget to bring in, X, Y, and Z freelancers who can deliver much more in depth than I could ever do, because they know what they're talking about.
That's brilliant, because then you're supporting the community as well. Then you're giving back to those amazing artists.
And that's a huge part of my job is to kind of use my network of people that I know to make the best educational experience for the kids that are coming through the door. And I think that's probably what I'll take from it most when I go back into the classroom is know that you don't know everything, and you're not expected to know everything as a teacher, or sometimes you are expected to know everything, but you don't.
No.
And it's okay. It's okay to not know everything, but you need to know somebody who does know that so they can then use their skills and work together. And it's a huge learning experience for children as well, to say, you know what, I'm learning with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I'm not teaching you. I'm a learner as well. I always say that to kids, I'm always learning now, and I love to learn with the kids. And if I don't know something, it's even better, because I'll show them how I'm going to learn, how I'm going to do this thing,
Yeah. So Gary, can you tell us a bit, for people who've never visited the V&A in Dundee, you've mentioned already a few kind of like different like exhibition themes that happen. So presumably there's like a different theme every so often, but do you have like core exhibits as well? What will people find there? Can you tell us a bit?
First thing I'll say is, if you're under 19, you get into all our spaces for free. So
Great.
Wow.
We have a paid exhibition that's on a server, like showcase exhibition that's on usually for about 9 months of the year.
Okay.
So at the moment it's Garden Futures. Previously it's been Kimono. Then we had, before that was Tartan, and previous to that was Plastic Remaking Our World, it was called.
Sure.
All really good, amazing productions, but really, really rich in learning. You can take a learner who is early years, or you can take university students in there, and there'll be thousands of learning opportunities for them. So just last week, for instance, I had a nursery group in the morning of 9 nursery kids from Scallywags Nursery in Carnoustie, and they went through the Gardens exhibition, and they used it to look at colour and shape and pattern and things like that. And then in the afternoon, we had the first cohort of architecture students from Dundee University who used the exhibition as stimulus for their learning and drawing and shape, but in a different way,
That just shows you the
breadth of it,
Yeah.
And the Tartan exhibition was really good for that as well, because there was so much learning in there, but it was also, you're bringing your social studies in through history and things as well, more so than some of the other exhibitions do, although they still do that. But we've got we've got our paid exhibition, which is our kind of showcase exhibition that's on.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we do have spaces that are open all year. So we've got our Scottish Design Galleries, which has over 300 objects of Scottish based designers, whether they practiced in Scotland, were born in Scotland, or they've all got a Scottish connection. There's some amazing objects in there, and really good stimulus for learning as well.
Yeah.
We have a handling box that kind of goes along with that as well. So when you come in, if you're a school group, you get your hands on these things, and you can we do workshops that are related to that as well. We've got a Michelin Design Gallery, which has a smaller exhibition usually attached to that. So over the past, so the one that's coming in soon is called Design Hopes. It's all about the future of kind of medical equipment and things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Sustainability of it and things like that. Then we just finished Nine Wells, so it was a celebration of 50 years of Nine Wells Hospital.
Yeah.
The fashion show, it was like everything but the clothes, and it was a fashion designer called Ian R. Webb. Not a fashion designer, sorry, a fashion journalist.
Sure.
Ian R. Webb, and it was basically his life in a box, because he worked in the fashion industry throughout the 80s and 90s, but he kept everything. He was a hoarder. So he had all his mobile phones from that period of time.
Brilliant.
So you can see the progression of that, but he also had like his invitations to the massive Paris catwalk shows and things like that.
Wow.
Right down to postcards to his mum from these places. So
that would have been amazing.
A really really cool show, and you had an amazing bank of photographs of ultra famous people, and him just kind of moseying along with them.
That's class.
That was one of my favorites. Yeah, it was one of my favorites, and he was brilliant because he was such a nice guy as well. So he would come in and speak to students. So on the opening day, we had some students come along from Dundee and Angus College, fashion business students, and just getting him in front of them and be able to chat to him was,
chance to meet.
it was gold for them. And they came along with their lecturers, and the lecturers were just like, this is amazing,
Priceless.
The show's amazing.
Yeah.
Having him there just to be able to just speak to these kids is,
it's fantastic.
it's going to take them places. Yeah. So.
Yeah, inspirational.
One of the things I heard you say earlier was that you have yourself a bank of amazing educators and professionals that you've made connections with. And I saw recently on LinkedIn that you'd put out a call to anybody who is working within education to kind of share your Streets Ahead project that you've got going on. We'd love to hear a wee bit more about that as well. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, so that was one of the first things I kind of got my teeth into when I came into the job. Was we'd been given sponsorship from NCR, which is National Cash Registers, the massive employer back in the 70s and 80s in Dundee. If you lived in Dundee, you knew somebody that worked at the cash.
Sure. Right.
So we got some sponsorship from them to develop a STEM project. We didn't know what it was going to look like, basically.
Yeah.
But all we knew is that we had to be STEM focused, and so myself and Julie from the learning team, we worked on that for kind of, I suppose, the first year of my job, bringing that all together. Yeah. And we launched it in 2023. We had 64 schools across 22 local authorities take part.
Wow.
And it was, the way it works is we've got a bank of resources that we give to schools, and we give them a design brief.
Sure.
And the design brief is really community focused, but it does bring in all these skills of creative problem solving, critical thinking, really gets them thinking about their community. So we asked them to redesign their local high street or shopping area.
Sure.
That's the brief. To be more sustainable, accessible, and
brilliant.
What they do is they go off and they take it in whatever direction they want to take it. And the beauty of it is, because it's all over Scotland, it's all different.
Yeah.
Because the community needs are all different across the whole of Scotland. So when they send their entries in, you're getting this massive spectrum of amazing things, amazing ideas, and
that's
getting the children's
fascinating.
voices out there.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So it's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, that really interests me, the idea of the sort of redesigning the high street, because let's be honest, we've all travelled round small town high streets, and there's a common thread that runs through them all. That there's a lot of empty shops, charity shops, bookies, all the rest of it.
Vape shop, then another charity shop, another bookies, another vape shop, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what these kids are coming up with. They're phenomenal ideas. So what we do with the entries is we whittle them down into finalists. So in the last cohort there was 9 finalists.
Okay.
And we bring them into V&A Dundee for a design jam, we call it.
Sure.
And we pair them up with a practicing designer, one of our freelancers.
Sure.
So the teams get to work for a whole day with a designer to really hone their idea.
Great.
Amazing.
And then they present it to a panel of judges. And then the judges then select a winner, and the winner gets a week's worth of work experience at NCR.
Wow.
In
that's
their
cool.
creative department, and it's so good.
Yeah.
But what we also do is we send them to Sky Academy in Livingston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they make the Sky News article.
Brilliant.
And that's part of the exhibition that we put on. So that the 9 finalists are then exhibited in a proper V&A exhibition for a few months.
That's
with their
cool.
videos and their prototypes all sitting out in pride of place in the V&A.
That's fantastic.
But so we did that 2023, skipped it 2024, and we've just relaunched it for this year. But we've relaunched it with a few tweaks because it was the first time we'd done it. It was our prototype. So
you iterate, you learn.
We've developed it even more now. So we had a lot of primary teachers asking about it. So it was aimed at S1 and S2 pupils, because of that period of, go
Sure.
and select your subjects after S2.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of show them that STEM is not just about, engineering and technology. You could be creative within STEM as well.
Absolutely. I love that.
That's what we want to kind of get over to the young people. And there's loads of other jobs as well. So a lot of it is when they come in, we talk about the museum in itself has got so many different roles within it.
Yep.
We just want to get over to the young people that you don't need to be pigeonholed into a STEM career or a creative career or a business career or whatever. It all merges.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the skills that you learn.
That's what I was just thinking. Absolutely. You've got your collaboration, the STEM skills, using the technology. There's so many different skills that all come together.
If you're learning those skills, you can transfer them into these different.
In terms of future jobs, I mean, there's a huge movement towards skills.
They have those skills that they could go on. Because let's be honest, we're teaching skills to children that we don't even know if they're going to use them. They're going to have that basis of, right, okay, I know how to solve a problem or I know how to think,
absolutely.
So when a new skill happens, they'll learn it quick because they know how to learn a skill.
Yeah.
So the important thing becomes the process rather than the kind of product itself. It's the process of solving that problem creatively.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do people get involved? Yeah.
We've opened it up to primary schools this year as well. And we kind of just said that we were going to just do Dundee and surrounding, but just this morning, a school from Skye have joined.
Oh wow! Yeah.
But there's a school from Glasgow and joined the primary one, but I've just put a caveat in here, is a little bit different from the secondary one. So the secondary one is our sponsored one.
Sure.
That's the competition, and that gets the whole V&A exhibition and stuff attached to it, and the work experience, the final and stuff. But the primary school one is a sort of watered down version of it for primary schools. Yeah. We've taken it into a more simplified version. The beauty of that is you don't need to win or be a finalist to be showcased in the V&A.
So brilliant.
All the primary schools that will be part of it will have something showcased in the V&A over a weekend in February, I think.
Yeah, that's class.
But to get involved, you just need to sign up. The information is everywhere. You go into my LinkedIn, you'll get the information to sign up on there. And I'm sure, Niall, you could
I'll stick that in the show notes. Not a problem at all. Yeah. And there's, I mean, I was on earlier. I love how you've used Padlet to kind of pull together all the different information. You've got all the different steps in there for everybody. There's information for the teachers, information for the pupils. So everything that you need to do is in there. And I love how you've used Padlet to organize all that. I think that was just a great way for you to do that.
Yeah. So that's new for this year as well. So we originally used ThingLink.
Sure.
Which I think is a brilliant tool as well. And we had all our resources on ThingLink, but we kind of felt that teachers weren't used to using ThingLink.
Sure.
So they were finding it so the feedback that we got was, the resources are great, but finding it difficult to use.
Sure.
And the good thing about Padlet as well is that they can upload their entries straight to it so they can see what other people are doing and things like that as well. And we didn't have that last time. We were finding it really difficult. Just people were emailing us their entries, and the files were too big, or we couldn't get PowerPoints through and things like that. So they had to send it through in PDF formats, and it was difficult to enter. So hopefully that simplified it for this time round as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's all looking fantastic.
Another project is Schoolseum. So that was a pilot project that we did just last year with Rowantree Primary School.
Yeah.
That kind of works on the basis of a thing called My Primary Schooler at the Museum. So that's a kind of format, if you like, for museums to create cultural residencies for young people within their setting.
Brilliant.
But I think it was 2016 or something around about that sort of time.
Okay.
It was, who did it first? Tate Modern, Swansea Waterfront Museum, and Arbea Roman Fort. They came together to work on this sort of idea, and it was all kind of conceived by a woman called Wendy James, who is incredible.
Sure.
She's not an educator, and she tells people she's not an educator, but she really is an educator. She's actually an architect by trade. So she was working on an extension for the Tate Modern.
Right.
When she was working on it, she was thinking, what is this actually going to get used for? A couple of, fancy events or something like that. Yeah. Why are we not putting schools in here and having them using this space all the time when it's empty,
Yeah.
And she had a lot of friends who were teachers and stuff who were kind of saying, schools are really struggling, and it's, it's a difficult time for education at the minute. There's no money and things like that. And she's just like, get them into museums then and make that become their classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was her thing. And she did a little academic study on it, and the results were amazing. So she kind of just built this momentum of, it's
like
a concept.
Campaign. Yeah.
It's anything but prescribed. You can just do it however you like to do it. So I loved the idea of it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, right, okay, I'm going to try and get some funding for this, and we applied for a few different funds. We didn't get them, and we just thought, we're just going to do it anyway. So we did it at the tail end of the financial year.
Great.
We did it on a shoestring budget for 3 days. So we were going to do 7 days with 3 different schools. We couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
We just went for 3 days with one school, and it was amazing. It was one of the best things we'd done.
So what happened then? How did that work?
So what we did is we got 2 primary 5 classes in.
Right.
For the 3 days, and we split them up into different categories, so they could work on a different creative career while they were in. So we had engineering and architecture as one, fashion and jewellery as the other. We had a games design group.
Very cool. Yeah.
And we had a curation group.
Smart.
So 4 different groups working on 4 different creative careers. And what we did was we immersed them in, the design language and the design process and how to basically use their skills to work on this project. So they were doing things, but the curation team were curating all their work throughout the week. But we also sent them out on excursions to the Discovery, to the Unicorn, to McManus Galleries, to the Science Centre, and they came back with more skills and more ideas. And then at the end of the week, they put on an exhibition. So they put on their own exhibition that they designed themselves, and everything that was in the exhibition was designed by them.
That's class.
The games designers created a game for one of the other exhibitions that we had in the museum, and we invited parents and educators to come down, and it was such a great event. And we measured it on a tool called the Stellar Assessment Tool. Okay, it's actually on Daydream Believers website. I don't know if
I've heard of them.
Helena on her website. So we used her assessment tool that she's got on there, and that basically it asks kids to measure their own thoughts on how creative they are, how what they think about problem solving and things like that. So we did it before they even started. We got them to all think about how they thought of themselves, and then after, and the results were just out of this world.
Astounding.
Kids that didn't think they were problem solvers were, they'd give themselves a mark of 30 at the start, and are now sitting at 80.
Amazing.
And you know what? Maybe that the shift wasn't that, but in their mind, it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They built the confidence.
A lot of the projects that you've mentioned to us today are all they have a common thread that runs through them, the real world. So young people are engaged in a learning experience that is actually real, and it has a kind of, real life purpose. What difference do you think that makes to young people in the way they engage with the learning?
yeah, I think that makes all the difference. And I say that all the time. I'm a real advocate for it. It's, they need to have a tangible outcome in their learning.
Yes.
So, if you're doing the Romans or you're doing the Victorians or, these topics that teachers just love to just pull out and get out, and like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Get them out in their community.
Sure.
There's so many more learning experiences out there in your local area.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah, keeps it personal.
And it gives them a love for their city and their community.
Sure.
And, it's like, I remember being at school, and the best things that we did were in primary school was when we went out of the classroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're the things that you remember. I hardly remember a thing.
I'm the same. My favourite thing I remember from primary school was making cheese. Because it was real.
But it's practical.
That's my thing I remember.
Best memories of primary school is on a Friday afternoon, if you behaved yourself during the week.
Yeah.
On a Friday afternoon, you got to do project time, which was your own project. And you got given one of these old pink jotters, blank pages, and you could do a project on whatever you liked.
Amazing.
So, I did WWF wrestlers. I did football. But I was learning so much because I was writing down their weights, their height.
See, that's another thing. That's another thing that's really interesting to me there, in that, we're talking about real world and the difference that makes, but what you're talking about now is kind of like hyper-personalised and engaging curiosity through topics and subjects. So rather than the whole class doing Victorians, is there, an opportunity for kind of personalised projects and topics?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's what I try to bring into, my own teaching and any projects that I do. Try and make it as personal as possible, but real life. Yeah. So
that's a really I think that's a really sort of important message to use as a takeaway from this podcast, is that, real world and personalised is a kind of, I suppose, the most impactful learning for young people, and in terms of future skills and future jobs that we don't know what they are going to be yet. It's that kind of that skills development process that becomes the most important thing, doesn't it? Brilliant, Gary. Absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed talking to you today. It's been great to hear about your journey. It's been great to hear about the work that you're doing at the V&A, and especially the Streets Ahead project. Yeah, it sounds absolutely amazing. And I'd absolutely encourage schools to get involved in that, because it sounds really, really powerful. I'd actually love to see some of the ideas. Wouldn't it be great if one of the local authorities would actually take forward some of the suggestions? Wouldn't that be great?
Well, that's what one of the groups from last year are still, last cohort, are still trying to make theirs a reality. So watch this space for that.
Thank you so much, Gary, for that fantastic conversation. Really means a lot to us when guests join us and open up to Niall and myself about their kind of journeys and the work that they're doing. Remember, it means so much to us that you listen to our podcast as well. It would make a huge difference if you were able to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to download our episodes on wherever you find your podcasts. We're everywhere. We're at Digitize Crew if you want to catch up with us on social media. And again, thanks very much for joining the Digitize Fully Charged podcast.